Welcome to our next session of game theory. It's been a while, and we have a lot of material to catch up on. So today we're going to be talking about sequential moves, sequential games. And the last time that I spoke to you, I talked to you about simultaneous games. In other words, a simultaneous game is where the two parties have to make a decision independent of each other. And they run the risk of making an error about what the other person might do. With sequential moves, one of the players observes the other one make a choice, and then they respond to that choice. And then the other person responds to that choice, and so forth. And so you have this sequential activity that's going on. Before we start getting into this, I want to first show you a couple of videos I want you to watch. This first video is one of my favorites, a short video clip from a game show in England. These two men are trying to win a lot of money, and they've been pitted against each other in a perfect example of a prisoner's dilemma. And so it's one of those things where it plays out, neither of them will get any money, basically turn against the other one. However, in this particular case, one of the players has a strategy. I think he might have taken game theory, but anyway, he has a strategy, and I want you to watch this video, then come back and we'll continue our discussion. So watch the video. It's up there for you to watch. It's very short, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed that video. It's one of my favorites. I think this particular player was quite clever, and he was able to maintain a relationship. Now, at the beginning of the semester, before classes began, I sent you a video introducing a particular game, which was about a pirate king and 4 other pirates, and for 100 gold doubloons. So it's about time we talked about that, because that's a perfect example of a sequential game. So what's going to happen is the pirate king is going to make his decision. He'll give the coins to who he thinks should get them, and then they'll react, and they might kill him. If they don't kill him, well, it's all over. He did good. But if they kill him, pirate 2 becomes the king, and then the other 3 have to decide what to do. Now, if they don't like what he did, then they're going to kill him. If they like what he did, then it's all over. Okay? So otherwise, they have a battle, and pirate number 3 becomes the king. And then 4 and 5 have to decide what they're going to do. Now, they can either rise up against him, kill him, or they can accept what he gives them. If they kill him, now you're down to pirates 4 and 5. So that's where we begin. That's where we begin our reverse induction. Pirates 4 and 5. They're the only 2 left. Now, if you're pirate 4, you have to decide what you're going to do with pirate 5. You're stronger than him. He can't beat you. So how many coins do you have to give him? And the answer is, and so you're going to give him no coins. Well, now pirate 5 is no stupid pirate. He knows that if he gets to the point where there's just 4 and 5, he's going to get no coins. So back up again. So when pirate 3 is in charge and 4 and 5 can rise up against him, all pirate 3 has to do is give 1 gold coin to pirate 5. Keep 99 for himself. If he gives 1 gold coin to pirate 5 and explains to him, if you kill me, you're going to get 0. Pirate 5 will accept it, and pirate 4 is out of luck. Well, pirate 4 is not going to be real happy with getting 0. So back up to pirate number 2. If pirate number 2 is in charge, he only needs 1 other pirate. Because remember, the pirate king with any other person, and if it's a tie, they win. So all he has to do is give 1 gold coin to pirate 5 or pirate 4, doesn't matter, either one of them, and they won't rise up against him, because either way they're going to get 0. So now we back up to the captain. So the captain, all he has to do then is give 1 gold coin to number 5 and 1 gold coin to number 4. They're better off, and the 3 of them outnumber the other 2, and that's the way it works. So the answer to this problem is 98 coins for the captain and 2 for the crew, giving 1 to 4 and 1 to 5. And so what we have is a tree that we can create that goes down to that level, and then we can work it back up to reverse induction until we arrive at the answer that we just came up with. While we're building this tree, we have different components. So we've talked about this before, and you had a little experience with it. So we have some terminology. The first thing is that we have various nodes. So we can see the tree as it moves along. and there's a point at which it divides. That's a node, okay? And then it branches from there. So we have branches. So we have nodes and branches, okay? And then we have paths and play. So if you take all of those nodes and branches to their very end, okay, that would be a path where it ends. That's one path. And the play, of course, would be the payoffs at the end of that, which are then what drives the play back up. Now, the other piece of this is the notion of subgames. So when we look at the tree, we can see different players having different choices. And at each choice, one player it has the ability to decide where the game is going to go. We call that a subgame. So we can evaluate each subgame separately and then decide what's going to happen. And we'll look at that and take a look at how we then reverse it back. One other very important element to this particular kind of a game is the idea of uncertainty. So when we're playing one of these games, we can come to a node in which the players may not have full control over what happens. An example of this would be planning for a wedding. And one of those nodes might be rain or shine, outdoors or indoors. What is the probability of it raining on that particular day? Well, you can go to the almanac and Farmer's Almanac and look it up and see if on that particular day, on the average of rain, it has a 5% chance of rain. And that's not too bad, 5%. So you could just say, yeah, forget it. We'll just plan on an outdoor wedding. Well, they may not want to do that. You might want to say, well, we need a backup just in case it does rain, because sometimes it does. And so as we're putting together these trees, we're going to reach some points at which there's uncertainty, in which, for example, maybe two of the players are competing physically to see who's faster or stronger. And you might say, well, I'm pretty sure player A is stronger and he'll beat player B, but maybe not. Maybe he'll be sick that day. I don't know. So what we're trying to do is to find these equilibria and using a different model. So let's talk real quickly about first mover advantage and second mover advantage. So first mover advantage is where the first mover is able to commit and force the other player to follow the path of their choice. The second mover advantage is the flexibility of deciding which direction to go, having seen what the other person does. You see this in the chicken game if one of the players shows their hand. So if the two tractors are headed towards each other and one of the players reaches down to turn his steering wheel, well, it looks like he's going to swerve, right? So having shown their hand, the other player, I say, well, then I'm going to go straight and continue to go straight. Whereas if they don't see them do that, they haven't shown their hand, they aren't sure what to do. So there can be, even in what appears to be a simultaneous game, there can be indications. I want to go through the Centipede game with you. This is a very famous classic game. In the Centipede game, what you have is you have two players going back and forth, deciding whether or not to take the money. And if they don't take the money builds up and gets more and more money as time goes by. But at each point in the game, the player's turn, they can take all the money and walk away and leave the other person with no money. And until you get to the very, very end, if everybody did that and you get to the very end, then they split the money evenly. And what are the odds that's going to actually happen? Well, we'll look at that. Let me explain how this game works. With each turn of play, another dime is put into the middle. And at any point in time, either of the players, when it's their turn, can take the dimes that are in the middle and keep them and walk away. If they play all the rounds and they get to the very end, they get no dimes. So let's look at the play right before that. Player B, it's his choice, and player B can choose to take the $1 and walk away, in which case player A gets 0, or move back and risk the fact that in the next play back, player A can take the 90 cents, leaving player B with 0. On the other hand, playing back one more, player B can take the dimes at 80 cents, in which case player A gets no dimes. And if you continue back, you get to the very beginning, player A has 10 cents, and player A can take the 10 cents or leave it there. If player A leaves it there, then player B can take it on the very next turn, get nothing. And we see that by reverse induction, each time the previous player is going to want to take the dimes and not take the risk of the other player taking it. Because you see, here at the very end, player B is going to take the dollar. Otherwise, they get nothing. So player B is going to take the dollar. So player A should take the 90 cents if player wants anything. On the other hand, player B can see that, so player B would take the 80 cents. On the other hand, player A can see that and would take the 70 cents. On the other hand, player B the 60 cents, the 50 cents, the 40, the 30, the 20. And so in this game, player A takes the dime and the game is over. And that is a way of looking at reverse induction that allows us to see that by going backwards, we can arrive at the equilibrium that the game has set up for us.